Hello, thank you for joining me for today's Facebook Live. My name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, in Australia. This is the card that we're going to be making today. It's slightly different. It is a Z fold card, but it opens that way with your Z fold instead of that way. And it has this at the back, so I don't know exactly what to call it, so I'm calling it a reverse Z fold bookbinder card. Could I find a more complicated name? Probably not, but that's what it is. Now the product that I'm using today is the Relaxing Waterfront Suite. So those are the stamps and the dies. If you think I've been using it a lot, I have. It's because we've got the Creativity Abound Stamp Camp on the 11th of July, and these are the products that we're going to be using for the Stamp Camp. If you want to join the Stamp Camp, it's super easy. All you have to do is, if you're in Australia, buy the product suite from me. You're then into the Stamp Camp. I will send you the card bases to make the 13 cards in the tutorial, and you'll be invited to the event, which will show you 13 bonus cards. So that's 26 cards to make with the suite. If you're not in Australia, let me know and I can point you to somebody who is in Australia. So all you do is buy your suite and then you pay postage just to get your kit to you, and that's it. Easy as, nothing else to pay for joining the Stamp Camp. Now, there is a whole heap of paper in, a whole pack of paper, which I'm sure you've seen. I'm not going to go through it all again. But my favorite piece in this pack is the seagulls, which seems to be quite strange because when people comment that I've seen me using the seagulls, they go, oh, I didn't know what I was going to do with the seagulls. And to me, this is the easiest piece to use. I'm almost out of seagull paper, but that's besides the point. Okay, let's get started with this card. So I'm changing the card base. I used basic grey here. We're going to use Misty Moonlight. And starting off with some scoring. Okay, I'm going to score, let's just move you out the way for a minute. I'm going to score and open that up because I'm going all the way across. So we're scoring at 3 centimeters. And my scoring blade isn't in, and I'm sorry if there's noise coming through. My next door neighbour seems to be busy sanding their floors, so I can hear them working. I'm not sure whether you're getting the noise coming through or not. So 3, 17.9 and 23.8 centimeters. If you're working in inches, that's 1 1/4, 6 3/4, and 8 7/8 inches. Okay, and I just see that I didn't do a great job of cutting. It's gone a little bit fluffy. I don't know whether I'm making this better or worse, but okay. And then we're going to fold my Z fold. So remember, that one is the one that I said to you is going backwards. So we're folding it in the opposite direction. Usually my Z fold would be going like that, but nope, this one is going that way. And then I'm folding my little piece on the end here in. Now, first thing I'm going to do is just stick my piece of DSP onto the end, and if I can find my piece of paper, let me just show you. And here's where I said to you, I'm running out of DSP here. So this has your birds going like down across the middle, and then you've got some sky on either end. So when I've cut my DSP for this card, I've cut my piece to go on the front, with the birds, and this little strip I've just cut from the side where it's just sky. Okay, so if you're not sure what you're going to do with the sky bit or the bird bits, that's what you can do. Just separate them and use them separately for wherever you want them to be. Now, I did put my card aside, but I should actually have it in here because there are some things that I need to tell you. When I did this card, I made sure I didn't do it this time because we hopefully learn from our mistakes. So I immediately went and stuck my little flap bit down because isn't that what you do? And then realized I wanted some linen thread. So for this one, I'm sure you can see, I looped the thread around the DSP, which isn't completely ideal. It works if you stuff it up, but it is a little bit more difficult because the DSP isn't as firm as your cardstock, so it did make it a bit more difficult to loop. So I've done it right this time. I just want to put a little strip of tear and tape just to hold my linen thread when I loop it. That's the one thing about having lovely nails, is that they thicken, you can't get under tear and tape. Okay, so we're just going to start it here and then loop it around. I can adjust where it's sitting. Don't go too tight because you don't want to tear, well, pull your card base in, but you do want it sitting that it's not falling all over. And once we've looped the linen thread around, then you can stick your piece down. And trust me, this makes everything a lot easier than trying to loop it around the DSP. So it does give you like a slightly different look because it's going all the way around, not just around the DSP. If you like it just around the DSP, then absolutely go for that. Okay, now let's just do my little bit of stamping. So I'm going to stamp my reed on the inside of my insert. Oops, didn't open that very well. And you're also going to stamp an extra 2 reeds onto a scrap piece of paper because we're cutting out 2 reeds. Now before I put my reeds away, let me try and stamp my sentiment, and I say try because my latest thing, and don't ask me why I'm doing this, is I have to take long sentiments and split them up, so that takes a little bit of patience and working to get it done. And I seem to have got a good job of it, but of course when I'm on camera and I can't get my head in the way, it's sometimes difficult. So let's see how I go here. All right, so the relax is easy. That's just your stamp as is, but the today is your day is a long sentiment, and it's too long to fit onto my little die cut, which is the second smallest Nested Essentials rounded rectangle. Okay, so what we do is just ink up today is. Okay. And I think I've got quite good at doing this, but let's just see, once I've told you this is my superpower, whether I can actually get it right on camera. Okay, not too bad. Now, this is important. Clean your stamp, okay, because otherwise you're going to get shadows of what you've just stamped. And now I'm going to ink up the Your Day. And if you're thinking that this block is way too big for the stamp, yes it is. This is one of the Paper Pumpkin or the kit blocks. And I do normally like stamping on a smaller block because then you don't get ink all over it. But when I'm trying to line things up, I prefer these thinner blocks just because I think I can see better. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. That wasn't too bad. I actually had stamped another one ready to go just in case I didn't get it right while we were on camera, but we're good with that. Okay, so back to my reed. If I can find where I actually put my green ink, here it is. And I did them all in the same color here. I'm going to change it up a little bit and actually add some color to this one. Hopefully it's going to look okay, but we'll know in a second. If it doesn't, I do have my spare one that I stamped that I can change my mind, so that's a good thing. So I'm just making sure that I'm stamping my reeds, that it's not covering my sentiment. And then I'm taking this flying seagull and in grey granite I'm going to stamp him. I think that one I did in basic grey as well because everything was basic grey, but my other seagulls are grey granite, so that one's been grey granite as well. I think that that looks okay with our different colour ink, and that is all my stamping done. Now we're ready to assemble. Okay, so here's my card base, and my insert is the wrong size. So sorry, let me just cut that down because I forgot. Okay, let's just have a think. So 14.4 less 3 is going to be 11.4, and we want a slight border. Okay, I will go and adjust that measurement in my measurements because I put the wrong one in there. Lucky I was working with my trimmer today and I could just trim it down. Okay, that looks like it's the right size now. So take 2, stick my insert in. Just making sure that my card is facing the right way because I would hate to stick this upside down. And then I'm going to just take one of my seagulls that I stamped and die cut earlier, and we're going to stick him standing on the reeds. You may have gathered that I really like these seagulls. Okay, that's ready. Oops, that was an ink pad that was falling over. Okay, so now I'm just going to stick my DSP onto my card front. And then I'm sticking that onto that first flap of my Z fold. And that is the same width, so that should fit on here exactly. So we're just lining up all 3 edges. And when it's closed, it's going to close nicely. Okay, now I can't take credit for this. The lady that demonstrated this suite at the On Stage in Sydney actually came up with this idea. I wasn't there, but of course they showed it to me. And I don't know who it was that demonstrated it, so I can't give her credit for her brilliant idea, but when I find out who it is, I will let you know what her name was. Okay, so this is the die for the chair. Okay, so it is that die over there, this one here, and all I've done is cut it out. And now what we're going to do is trim off the bottom of that flap, which you would tuck in if it was going to be a chair, but it's not, so we're cutting that off. And then I'm going to stick this onto a darker grey piece of cardstock. And yes, we could have had adhesive sheet behind it, but I didn't, so just go lightly with the glue so that you're not going to get glue everywhere. Stick it onto my piece of basic grey. Doesn't matter if it's not straight, it very clearly isn't. And then the dreaded fussy cutting, but in this case it's not too terrible because I'm just cutting around the edge of the shape, and as easily as that my chair becomes, or my chair back rather, becomes a dustbin. You can see it's very deep concentration with this cutting. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my seagulls and stick him in there so that it looks like he's sitting behind or just on inside the dustbin. And I've just realized my seagulls need yellow beaks, so this is Lemon Lolly. You can use Daffodil Delight or whatever color you want for the beaks, and it's the only coloring that I did on these. Just, here's my other one, give them some yellow beaks. And of course I'm only looking at this now, but it looks like I didn't cut that very well, so let's just take off that bit of extra white around the beak. And I'm going to just take this bit here too. So as soon as you start, it's like painting a house. As soon as you paint one wall, you see all the others that look terrible, and then you just have to keep going. Okay. Right, so back to Mr. Seagull over here. I'm going to just put some glue on his legs and stick him that he's sitting like that in the dustbin. Okay, now this is going to take, maybe could have stuck all the bits on before I stuck it on, but that's okay. Now this one you just need to think where you're positioning things, so I'm going to stick my one reed down because that's the easy one. Now the second one needs to stick, and yeah, sorry, I just need to get rid of some white here. So this one needs to stick where we're gonna see it peeping out the dustbin or behind the dustbin. So you just need to decide where you're sticking it so that it's not completely hidden. Like if it's too close, it's going to be completely hidden, but I do want a bit of it sticking out. Okay, so note where it is, and you can see where you're sticking it depending on where your seagulls are. You can see where you're lining it up. So this one, the bottom was just by the seagull's beak. dimensionals, which I made sure are not hiding away from me. So I'm going to put this onto dimensionals. Oh, that was good. I ripped the top off, so now I have, here we go, one, and I've just pulled it off another one. Okay, I don't know what's going on with me ripping off dimensionals today. And I'm just going to put a mini behind the seagull over here. And then that can sit there. And then for my other seagull, I'm going to go with mini dimensionals again. We want him sitting on the edge of the bin. So I'm going to just put some glue on his feet. And he can sit on there with his friend. Okay, and then my sentiment, I've taken another die cut, exact same size, but this time in Misty Moonlight, and I'm just going to stick this on here so that we get that little edge poking out. And that needs dimensionals as well. And I'm going to put one in the middle just to give it some extra support. There we go. And birthday card ready to give to somebody. I guess this one could be for male or female, but it is quite a good masculine card if you're looking for it. This is a good masculine suite. Alright, so there we go. It's going to, like I said, open up the opposite way to usual, but just fun, something different. So I hope you've enjoyed this card. If you make it, please show me what you've made. Try it with different DSP if you want to. And like I said, the link for signing up for that stamp camp will be in the comments. I'll put it in as soon as I've done here. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.